Hello children, welcome back to virtual classes. Myself Amaharar. I am from AA College, Barabanki. Today I shall be taking up English grammar of class 10. My topic today is punctuation. This is part 1. Dear children, there was no punctuation in any of the languages in ancient times. With the advancement of the civilization, punctuation was introduced in the written form of the language to help a reader distinguish words and ideas from each other and to mirror the natural rhythms of the spoken language. In speaking, we use pauses and the pitch of the voice to make what we say clear. Punctuation plays a similar role in writing, making it easier to read. Punctuation consists of both the rules and conventions. There are rules of punctuation that have to be followed, but there are also punctuation conventions that give writers a greater choice. Dear children, what is punctuation? The word punctuation is taken from the Latin word punctum, meaning a point. It means the right use of putting in points or stops in writing. It divides one sentence from another sentence or one part of a sentence from another part by means of points, stops or marks. Punctuation marks help us to know that a sentence has come to an end or a new sentence is beginning. Without punctuation mark, we make a mess of the whole meaning. Let us take a few examples to prove that if punctuation marks are changed or not properly used, the whole meaning goes wrong, or we make a mess of the whole meaning. The first example is, let us eat grandma. Now here we put a comma after eat. So the sentence is correct that we are addressing grandma and inviting her to come with us for food. But suppose we remove the comma. Then what happens? Let us eat grandma. Now here, the whole meaning is changed. It goes haywire. It means that we are extending invitation to all of us to eat grandma herself. Heaven forbid. Let us take another example to show what function punctuation marks perform. Woman, comma, without her. Man, once again, comma, is nothing. Now, this means that woman is nothing without her man. It shows the importance of man. But if we change the punctuation marks and we write it just as we have written in the sentence number 4, woman, colon, without her, comma, man is nothing. Full stop. Now, the speech becomes direct and the woman is the speaker and she says that without her, man is nothing. Now, dear children, have you noticed that with the change of the punctuation mark, the whole meaning changes? There are 14 punctuation marks in the English language. Their names and symbols are as follows. Number 1 is full stop or period. Now, symbol is dot, In British English, we call it full stop, but in American English, we refer it as a period. Then you have got a comma, slightly crooked mark, which is put downwards. Then semicolon, full stop, and a comma below it. This is called semicolon. Then colon. We have got 2 full stops or periods which are put vertically. We refer them as colon. Then question mark or sign of interrogation, a kind of sickle. Then you put a full stop. Next is exclamation mark or exclamation point, a vertical mark and a full stop. We call it exclamation. Then single inverted commas and double inverted commas. I will tell you where they are used. Next is apostrophe. When you put comma on the head of a letter, it is called apostrophe. Then a small horizontal line, this is called hyphen. A long horizontal line, this is called dash. Then parenthesis, we make use of brackets, small brackets and brackets. First we have got circular brackets, then we have got rectangular brackets, then 3 dots which we refer as ellipses or dots, slash or oblique. Now let us, dear children, study each of them separately and find out where they are used. The first one is full stop or period. In British English, we call it a full stop. In American English, we refer to it as a period. Full stop is one of the most commonly used punctuation mark in the English language. Analyses indicate that approximately half of our punctuation marks used are full stops. Their uses are as follows. Number 1, it represents the greatest pause and separation. It is used to mark the end of a declarative or imperative sentence. The first example is, I knocked at the door. There was no reply. I knocked again. So these sentences, and because I stop at each one of them, there's a pause, which is a longer pause, This is why full stop has been used. The sentence is complete. I knocked at the door. There was no reply. I knocked again. Declarative sentences. Go home. Imperative sentence. Get me a glass of water. Once again, imperative sentence. So we put full stop at the end of a declarative sentence or imperative sentence. Now, dear children, here the point to remember is the full stop or the period must invariably commence with a capital letter. The second use of full stop is with abbreviations. For example, I have just given a table of a few of them that when we use letters as abbreviations, we make use of full stop or period. Jan is short form of January, e.g. exempli gratia. The word is from Latin. In English, it means for example. Then am, ante, meridium. It is before noon or before midday. Then PM, post meridium, after noon or after midday. etc., etc. That is the Latin word. In English, it means so on. MA, Master of Arts. Mr. and Mrs., they have come to stay in English grammar. In modern English, dear children, these full stops are often omitted. That means left. MA, MP, UN. You can write them without full stops. In current English, Mr. and Mrs. occur without full stop. These words have come to stay. They are now written without full stop, Mr. and Mrs. The third is full stop is not used for acronyms, where the initials are pronounced as a word and the word has established a currency. The first example is AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome. We have taken the first letter of each word. Acquired A, immune I, deficiency D, syndrome S. Now, when we combine them together and pronounce them as a single word, AIDS, So these are called acronyms, UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. VAT, Value Added Tax. Full stop is also used at the end of a minor sentence. What is a minor sentence? Which has got no subject or it is without a verb. Examples are, now hits the organization, but not for long. Now this is a sentence, The first is without subject and the second one is without verb. This is a minor sentence. So at the end of a minor sentence, we also make use of full stop. Then as a decimal point, 1.5, 10.5. When we use it as a decimal point, we call it point. And next is in internet and email addresses where we pronounce it as dot, For example, http://www.aic.com. Now we are coming on to the second punctuation mark, that is comma. In American English, it is pronounced as comma, but in British pronounce it as comma. The comma represents shortest pause and it is, dear children, the most difficult punctuation mark to use well. It is, however, essential for clear writing. It is used in following different senses. Number one is to separate words in a list. Examples are, I have a bouquet of red, pink and white roses. Now, there is a list of roses. They are of red, pink and white colors. So, we have made use of comma after red. The second example is you can have tea, coffee, milk, or hot chocolate. Now, I have made use of comma at two places. After tea, after coffee. So, when you have got a list, then you make use of a comma. Always remember that whenever you make a short pass, you have got to use a comma. Now the second usage of comma is to separate each pair of words connected by an. When there are a pair of words which are connected by an, then we make use of comma. The example is high and low, rich and poor, wise and foolish must all die. Now notice, children, that whenever I make a short stop, I make use of a comma. High and low, rich and poor, wise and foolish, all must die. Now the third usage of comma is to indicate the omission of a word, especially a verb. When we leave out a word or a verb especially, then we make use of a comma. Examples are, he will succeed, but you never. That means you will never succeed. So in order to avoid the repetition of will succeed, we have made use of a comma, and because never has not been used previously, never is there. The next example is, Jupiter is the largest planet and Pluto the smallest. Now here we leave out the verb is and instead we put a comma. So whenever we leave out a word, especially a verb, we make use of a comma. Now fourth usage of a comma is, it is used after a nominative absolute. Nominative means pertaining to subject, absolute means free. That means the subject here is free. Nominative absolute, dear children, can be defined as noun pronoun plus participle. When noun pronoun plus participle, they come separately as a phrase, then we call it nominative absolute. But here, in such a sentence, the subject is independent of them. It has got nothing to do. Examples are, the class being over. The class is noun, being is present participle. So these two together form nominative absolute. The students went home. The students went home. They have got nothing to do with the class being over. That means here the number of the subject or the gender of the subject is not governed by nominative absolute. The second example is, the thief having been caught. The police returned. The thief is noun, having been caught, perfect participle. So both these together, they go to make nominative absolute. The police return. The police return. Here the subject police has nothing to do. Its number and gender are not determined by nominative absolute. So this is independent of them. So this is called nominative absolute. The fifth use of comma is to mark off a noun or phrase in a position. So dear children, what is case in a position? It is also called a case in a position. So what do we mean by it? A case in a position or a phrase in a position are a group of nouns. When two nouns come together and they indicate towards one person, place or a thing, then these nouns are said to be in case in a position or phrase in a position. Let us have a look at the examples. Milton, the great English poet. Who is Milton? The great English poet. Who is great English poet? Milton. So Milton and this phrase, the great English poet, noun phrase, they indicate towards one person. So they are said to be in phrase in a position. Was blind. Shakespeare, the dramatist. Who is Shakespeare? The dramatist. Who is the dramatist? Shakespeare. So both those nouns, they indicate towards one and same person. They explain each other. Wrote The Merchant of Venice. Now the sixth usage of comma is to separate words used in addressing people. When we address people, we make use of a comma. Here is your book, Father. Now here I am stopping for a while. So whenever you make a short pause, you have got to use a comma. Here is your book, Father. Friends, Romans, countrymen. Very famous line from Shakespeare. Lend me your ears. Friends, Romans, countrymen. So at three places comma has been used because these people have been addressed. Now the seventh usage of comma, dear children, is to mark off two or more adverbs or adverbial phrases coming together. When two adverbs come together or when two adverb phrases come together, then we make use of comma. Examples: then is an adverb, at last. Then, at last, he has gained his point. So then is an adverb and at last is adverb phrase. So commas have been used here. As it happens, however, I never saw her again. As it happens is adverb phrase and however is adverb. So whenever these two things happen, that means two adverbs come together or one is adverb, other is adverb phrase, then we make use of comma. The point to remember, dear children, is that we make a very short pause. As it happens, however, I never saw her again. Now the eighth usage of comma is before and after a participial phrase, provided that phrase might be expanded into a sentence. So whenever there is a participial phrase and you can expand it into a sentence, you make use of a comma. Examples are Caesar having defeated the enemies. Now having defeated, participle, returned to Rome. That means Caesar defeated enemies, full stop, he returned to Rome. But when we write this as a simple sentence, we put commas. Participial phrase has been used. Being sure of the accuracy of his facts, he stuck to his opinion. Now once again, this phrase being sure, present participle, you can expand it into a full sentence. That means he was sure of the accuracy of his facts. Full stop, he stuck to his facts. When you combine them together and make it a simple sentence, it becomes being sure of the accuracy of his facts. He stuck to his opinion. Comma has been used. Now, the ninth usage of comma is to separate main clauses, especially long ones, when they are linked by a conjunction such as and, but, as, for, or. So whenever we separate main clauses, and especially they are the long ones and they are linked by a conjunction and, but, or, as, for, we make use of comma. Examples are the way was long, the wind was cold. Notice, children, that I have made a very short pause here. Men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. Notice, children, that but has been used here, but the first sentence is a long one and it is joined by a conjunction but you have noticed that I have made a pause here. Men may come and men may go, but I go on forever. So the point, always remember that whenever you make a very short pause, you use comma. Now the 10th usage of comma is to separate a tag question from the rest. What is a tag question? It comes at the end of a declarative sentence. That means if the sentence is positive, then what we do with the question tag, that we take out its helping verb and the subject and we make it negative. It is just, for example, it is quite costly, isn't it? Now, it is the question tag. Why a question tag is used? Just to make confirmation, just to emphasize something, You do not live in Chennai. This is a negative sentence. So, tag question would be positive. I take out the helping verb do and repeat the subject. You do not live in Chennai, do you? And I put a question mark at the end. First comma, then. So, at the beginning of a question tag, we put a comma. The 11th usage of comma is to introduce a sentence in direct narration. Examples are, he said to us, comma, wait and watch. Inverted commas begin, come back soon. Inverted commas closed, comma, she said. So, whenever we begin a direct speech, after the reporting speech, we make use of comma. Then the 12th usage of comma is to separate phrases or clauses. Whenever we separate phrases or clauses, we make use of comma. Examples are, if you keep calm, take your time, concentrate and think ahead, then you are likely to pass the test, Tired after the excitement of the party, the children soon fell asleep. Dear children, as I have told you, that the best way to know the usage of comma is that whenever you make a very short pause in a speech, you make use of comma. Tired after the excitement of the party, the children soon fell asleep. Dear children, today you have learnt about the usage of full stop and comma. What is a punctuation mark? A punctuation mark is necessary to make the meaning of a sentence clear, and the first punctuation mark which we learn today is the full stop. This is the greatest pass and this is the most used punctuation mark. Then we have learnt about the usage of the comma, and the best way to understand the usage of comma is that whenever you make a very brief pause in speech, then you use comma. Hope I have made myself clear. Now I'll be giving you assignment for home just to find out as to how much you have been able to understand my point. Of course, you are going to get it checked by your school teacher. So put the period or comma wherever required in the following sentences. John came here at once. England, France and Italy form an alliance. The time being over, my brother returned. Delhi, the city of historical building, is the capital of India. We should be devout and humble, cheerful and serene. His behavior, to say the least, is very rude. He was a Brahmin, she a Rajput. So, you have got to make use of full stop or comma. Make corrections. Hope you have enjoyed today's video lesson. Hope to see you soon in my second video lesson. Until then, have a nice time. Goodbye. Thank you.